I'm going to use this time to cut up some barrels for the rocket mass heater. We'll see how this goes. I'm a little nervous. There is a problem though. But man, I was crushed. I am working from several different source materials to build this, and none of them actually mentioned buyer beware of this. Let this experience help anyone out there thinking of building a rocket mass heater. Happy days, everyone. You're watching the Green Dream Project. The chickens are making their happy chicken noises. Jess is working on the door, making her happy noises. And I have got to try a new mix. Now, if you caught our previous video, you know we've tried an earthen mix, but it is cracking pretty bad. So man, first of all, I want to give mad props to Peter for the tremendous job he had done here. He had done a lot of work in a very short amount of time. Now, there is a problem though. Not Peter's fault, but you can see major cracking in the walls here, and this is more my fault than anything. I tried to develop an earthen mix that I thought would be fairly sticky, be able to mix quickly, and just we can apply it quickly. But as you can see, there is a lot of cracking going on. We can't have the cracking. I think I have a plan on a much better earthen plaster, and I'm going to give that a shot. I am going to screen some dirt. I am going to cut up some straw. We're going to need some paper cellulose, and we got that too. I'm going to make up a new mix, try it out, and we'll see how that fares compared to our last one. May I exit? See, look at that. She does love me. What are you doing?
I'm putting a protective coat on the door, finally.
Nice. This doorway looks beautiful, by the way. The chickens are wondering why you're doing other things besides giving them food.
You're always wondering that. I already gave them food.
Chickens keep checking up on you occasionally. Hey, you ready to do some work? You ready to do some work? So that last mix was sifted soil and horse manure. And so I'm going to add some things to it to give it a bit more binding strength and flexibility when it's on the wall. So hopefully we don't see any more of that cracking. Still going with the sifted dirt, but I'm also going to be adding some concrete sand. I got a whole barrel full of chopped straw here. Going to be adding some of that. Shredded paper here that's been soaking for quite a while. And some more horse manure, which I won't stick my hand in. So let's mix this all together and see what we come up with. I'm also adding 1 cup of borax mixed with 1 cup of water. And this is to help prevent any mold issues. This might be a little too thin. Too much water, not enough mix. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I'm sure that will immediately get destroyed. But you'll have fun with it for a few seconds. I thought she might stomp on it a little bit, but she's already going to chewing on it. All right, y'all, so while the earth and plaster mix is drying inside the dome, I'm gonna use this time to cut up some barrels for the rocket mass heater. That build is still going on. So what I'm gonna do is cut up this barrel from the bottom, and I'm gonna measure about 16 inches, maybe 16 and a quarter, just to give me a little extra breathing room. I'm gonna measure this, cut around the barrel so I have a tiny barrel. This will be the manifold for the rocket mass heater. Woo! What do you think, Jess? What do you think? We got our manifold. She's excited, y'all. You can tell. Woo!
After what happened with our root cellar, we don't want all that water from the eaves like going where we don't want it to go. So I wanted to divert it into our basin that we made for that purpose. Like, we probably don't have to worry about it quite now, but definitely I wanted to get that done before our monsoon season starts.
All right, so since I'm doing a curved cut on this barrel, I'm gonna drill out one of these holes, then I'm gonna do this cut with the jigsaw. And basically what I wanna do is cut a 2-inch lip around this barrel, and this just happens to be 2 inches, so I didn't have to like mark anything out. I'll just follow this all the way around. Now I'll just put a little handle on here, and I got my Captain America shield. Hurrah! I know I'm a child. All right, so I'm gonna do the final cuts here on the barrel so that it fits over the heat tunnel. I'm a little nervous. This cut, I think, makes me the most nervous. And it might not be perfect. I got the measurements down. It might not be perfect. I might have to make some adjustments in order to get everything to fit just right, but we'll see. We'll see if I can do it first time or if I'm gonna have to make some additional kind of adjustments.
Oh, you okay?
Gotta straighten up here. We got it, Jess. What do you think?
It's looking pretty good. So basically what I did was I just trenched a little area going from where the downspout comes down off of our eaves of the dome, and I directed that into the basin.
So you got it sloping all the way down?
Have it
because
sloping.
that area actually moves sort of against the grain. It actually kind of moves uphill. So So you're careful to kind of make sure that gets a
Yeah.
downward slope uphill, if that makes any sense.
I had to actually dig down a bit deeper, like towards the basin, to get that slope.
All right, so once we get this manifold barrel in place, I'm going to need to fit this over the heat riser. So I'm going to cut out this bottom just so we can get like a better measurement of what I'm going to need to cut off completely in order to get this to fit in the right position. So let's cut off this bottom real quick. Uh-oh, we got a lazy dog. Huey, what you doing? Just chilling? All right, Jess is with me here. I got the manifold piece. We're gonna place it over the heat riser and we're just gonna see how all this looks. Oh, I might have to cut this thing a little bit more. I wonder if our barrels are kind of narrow compared to the ones they're using. So now we know that 2-inch gap is gonna have to, well, I mean, they're gonna have to cut it down or, well, I think they suggested on hammering it up and making a little lip with it. And that's might be what I have to do. So I'm gonna do some cutting, some hammering, and then we'll go from there.
I filled the bottom part with larger rocks and then kind of moved up to smaller rocks towards the top.
Why the gravel? I mean, you probably could have maybe gotten away with just the larger rocks.
Yeah.
But what made you decide to add that in?
I was thinking it might be a little easier to walk across that if we needed to, rather than like stumbling over these large rocks. And, you know, maybe it'll be a little safer.
No, I think it's a great idea.
That way the water can still kind of filter down and go down in between the large gaps in the bottom rocks. But, you know, you have more of a level surface on top.
What's Mama doing? What's Mama doing? Hey, you better pick up the pace. The boss is watching you. Supervisor on duty. All right, so I cut up the more of this manifold yesterday. I'm gonna see if it fits. Oh, that's beautiful right there. That's beautiful. All right, so I am just going to mark out where the top of the heat riser lands, and then I'm gonna have to add a couple inches. Okay, so I got the piping laid out, kind of about how it's going to look. So now I'm just going to mark out on the barrel here, kind of where this is going to land. Now I can cut this out, cut this top barrel out, and we should be good to go. I'm going to be putting this manifold back on, taking it off, at least in one more time. I got to make sure that once I put the upper barrel on, that everything is right where it needs to be. Well, I got bad news. It looks like the two barrels aren't meshing up. Now, it's quite possible I'm using different metal barrels and that they have in the book. Maybe the barrels that they've found are just straight, but these have a slight taper to them from top to bottom. I grabbed two barrels the same size because I thought they'd mesh up well, but when cutting them up and flipping them around, they don't mesh up well at all. We'll see how this goes. I might need completely new metal barrels. So I am liking that little riverbed you've put out there. For one, thank you. It's been a project that I've had on my list for a while to do, just something to go out there, and apparently you just got tired of waiting for me to do it. I'm always moving on one project to the next, and I don't have time for some of these side missions. But you got in there and you did it. It looks fantastic. All right, well, I'm really disappointed in the way the rocket mass heater is going. But I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. So let me show you how the new mix, it's been drying for at least a week, I believe. So you could clearly tell with that previous mix, the manure doesn't have enough fiber to hold all that together, and it's just way too clay heavy, and it's just really serious cracking. But this new mix, of course, with the shredded straw, the manure, the paper, the sand, really held together really well. And then I put some more up over here, but this is looking really great. And I know a lot of people have been concerned with like the breaking bags and everything like that. This section right here by the window had a busted up bag, but I've since covered it with the mix, and it's solid. You wouldn't be able to tell that there's a broken bag underneath there. It looks really nice. It's really solid, and that's what we're gonna do with some of these other busted up bags around here, and it's gonna be really tight. But I'm pleased. Dealing with a few projects here, working on the walls a little bit. Of course, I'm focused on the rocket mass heater right now. But man, I was crushed. Jess will back me up on this. I kind of knew when I picked up those barrels, I thought that they might not work. I had that suspicion because whenever you look at 55-gallon metal barrels, which these still are, these are still 55-gallon metal barrels, but they just have a different look to it. So these particular barrels, I'm thinking, are probably taller and slimmer, and they're tapered from the top to the bottom. I am working from several different source materials to build this. Some people might think I'm just kind of making this thing up as I go along. Clearly, I'm not making this up as I go along. There are source materials I'm working from, and I'm kind of putting this all together. And none of them actually mentioned like specifics on the metal barrel. There's no particular measurements to go by or buyer beware of this. Even though I was suspicious that it might not work, I just kind of wanted to go through the process just to see, because these barrels were close and they were cheap. So I really wanted it to work, and it did not. Kind of spent a whole bunch of time. I want to say it's completely wasted because it took me a little while to get up the confidence to start cutting up these barrels and making sure the measurements were all right and everything like that. So now I've got to actually test this on some dummy barrels.
Yeah. So you feel like when it comes down to when we actually get the right barrels, are you going to feel a lot more
I'll feel a
comfortable
lot
with
more
that?
confident. I can cut these up a lot quicker than these ones. I'll have everything measured, ready to go. I'll know what I'm looking for, and it should go a lot quicker than this. So
And
I think that's a positive.
yeah, and maybe another positive is that we are going through that, and we found this issue that has not been covered in other resources, so we can share that with other people who might be interested in building something like that.
Let this experience help anyone out there thinking of building a rocket mass heater. Be careful on the metal barrels. Make sure they are wider and make sure they're straight, not tapered. When I get the right barrels, maybe I'll go over those measurements on what you kind of want to look for. But I did get the rest of the materials I need for the rocket mass heater. So now I'm back to square one with the barrels. But once I find a source for those, we should be good to go. But the barrels are going to be like the most important part right now. So wish me luck, y'all. I gotta find new metal barrels. But, you know, a couple of wins. That riverbed looks amazing. And I think we got a mix that is working on the walls. It's no cracking, looks really nice, real solid. And I'm eager to get more of these walls plastered. So give us a thumbs up for a couple of wins, one loss. And we'll catch you on the next video, everyone. Bye.